Well, good morning, and we're live from, well, now once again, Texas, here on a Tuesday morning. And I am joined, as usual, with internet personality and all around good guy.
I wouldn't
You.
go that far. Yeah. Um, how you doing?
Good, good, good. No jet lag. A little bit of chaos going on around here. With a few cases up at Wichita State, so they shut things down up there for a few weeks. The kids back home for a few weeks. We managed to sell a house, buy a house, and all the chaos that goes along with that. So
Good times. Some
yeah,
people are actually like, "God damn it, Ryan! I just got rid of you. I've sold the house." And then it's like, "Guess who's back?"
yeah. The idea was a smart size, and although I think what we found, we didn't really so much smart size as we smart priced. So yeah, nice place, and I think it's going to work out okay. So
There's somebody who went back into the vault. I watched the Windy City Classic. To
oof.
put in perspective, I've
Well,
bowled on tour for 11 years. I've only ever bowled in Chicago once.
yeah, I kind of miss that place. Although I never won there, I made about 5 shows there. That place was the install there was the same time as North Rock, and my ball rolled similarly in both of those places. I liked both of them a lot, but yeah, the shows didn't always work out so good.
Yeah, I mean,
They actually bowled the TV show on the only. There was about 2 hard pairs in that whole place, and the TV show was on one of them. We would average 235, 240 to make the show every week there, and then the first one to 216 would win on the TV. So
yeah, that's always a fun time. Um, Somebody's asking us, hoping for a 2021 schedule. Well, I guess that makes three of us.
yeah, I just that's not a realistic thing. It's just not really possible right now until you know what rules everybody's going to play by. Once we have a consistent rule sheet, kind of for how things can go forward and not have repercussions, I think. I do think word was when we were at the playoffs that they're still shooting for early February to start, but there's no real way to know if that can happen. So
Yeah. We there was some bowling on TV this weekend. Slightly delayed again by the NHRA.
yeah,
Uh, we had. I have to be honest, it wasn't the most thrilling set of shows. Um,
and that's why
one
we
of
got moved back a week.
Yeah, exactly. But I
Yeah,
mean, that's the nature of you bowl one game matches, and there's you know
yeah,
you're not going to bowl 300 and have like people both striking out uh,
yeah.
for one pin matches. AJ Johnson took pretty good care of Kyle Sherman. Smallwood dispatched you. Um,
Brad Miller won.
Nick Payton, Darren Tang kind of had a bit of a messy match. Nick threw a good shot in the 10th to seal the deal when he really needed just a close frame. And then Brad Miller. That was a bit of a strange match with Doherty. Doherty started off with reactive, ring 10, changed to urethane, ring 10, missed it, which actually for Doherty is quite rare. I would say he's a pretty.
He's actually a very good square shooter for a two-hander for sure because he puts his thumb in it for one. But
Yeah. And then he went to urethane and he pretty controlled the pocket pretty good. Threw it not so great in the 9th frame, which kind of opened the door for Brad. And Brad had started off good and then kind of lost his way in the middle. And then he came back and bowled great. And then he got a little fortunate with a trip 4 in the 10th. But, you get the ball close enough. They're the things that kind of go your way. And Brad built some momentum. The last time he was on TV, I think we were talking about on that Chameleon show.
yeah,
And they're the kind of things that go your way once you've got it going well. I think if he'd have lost that first match on Chameleon the other week, the way these things go, he'd have probably left the 4-pin and Doherty would have probably doubled.
and that is kind of how it works a little bit. That match changed. That was the one really close match. It looked like it went back and forth a couple of different times. You're like, well, if Brad's out to a lead, oh, okay, well, he's going to run away with this. Oh, wait a minute. But wait. And then it flipped, and you're like, oh, well, Dory's definitely going to win this match. And then, but wait. And, but the two lanes played considerably different from each other. And you saw that a lot where the urethane guys could strike on one lane and not the other. The reactive guys could strike on one lane, but not the other. And, I would imagine going forward, the guys who, there's very few guys like Frankie that seem like they could strike on both lanes with the same ball.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that was quite funny was, and I was commenting about this while I was tweeting about it. You know that the lanes are playing really tricky when you see the match Darren Tang against Nick Pate, urethane against quick response reactive. Next
Right.
match, quick response reactive, small with urethane. The next match, Brad Miller used a high road, pretty quick response reactive. Doherty used a purple hammer.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like, and the one match where the urethane won, which kind of makes sense, was your match where you bowled on the fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. Smallwood had nothing with his last two shots. He pulled that ball out and hit the pocket twice. And neither one of them went through the pins, but he went with it because it was the only one he felt like he could hit the head pin with consistently. And then he hit the pocket. He had a 2-pin, and then he had one where he missed left him for a 9-pin. And the one that 9-pinned, I knew we were about done there.
Yeah.
He bowled a fantastic game. Bowled 250, scored 2 and I actually had a chance to make him mark in the 10th. But I mean, my ball went pretty much. Aside from me throwing it everywhere, the window for me to get it there was not particularly good.
To be honest, I watched it and I was a little disappointed. You made it sound to me like you were approaching how bad I was on Chameleon, dude. Like, you were a million miles away from it. You threw a couple of bad shots, but at least you actually looked like you had an eye. Like, you looked disappointed when you threw it and it didn't hit the pocket. I just looked confused.
It was a show where you knew pretty early on the scoring pace was 210, and the shot making thing you had to be sharp. And like when I look back, the one that 3-6-10 in my head, I felt like I missed by a mile. And then I watched on TV and I went, actually, it picked up quick, but it started out fairly close to online, and so it didn't look as bad. The one in the 8th is the one that I almost fell over.
Yeah,
that one struck, and you go, I can't repeat that shot even if I wanted to without injuring myself. So, but yeah, the left lane was much better for me than the right, but still, I mean, I threw one that was okay in the 10th, and it did the same thing. It pushed by the early friction in the front. You talked about the quick response. There's so much friction in the front that's how guys fought it. They went to quick response balls, which they still didn't really respond that quick down lane, but it allowed you to have some energy at the back end. And for me, using the asymmetrical ball was probably the wrong way to go. I probably need to go ahead and ball down all the way to something symmetrical that would keep going a little better for me. But
so the nature of these things, and also with it being with the event kind of being by itself, I don't think anybody outside of a couple of the guys who drove, like Prather and AJ and Rash, really had like their full arsenal.
Yeah, you didn't have the big plethora of balls when you got fooled by hey, this is what it's going to be, and then you get there and go, wow, it's not playing. The combination's a little tricky, and since everybody's not got 6 balls, you're gonna need to figure out something. And really, like I said, I probably could have thrown urethane, hit the pocket, and with the scoring pace as it was, that would have been fine because it wasn't like 230s. With the exception of Frankie and a couple of guys, really, I mean, 210s was enough to be in every match and win most of them.
And just a quick thing about that, it did seem that once the blue oil wasn't there last week, the scores were better. I don't know whether that's going to be a trend that continues because obviously I don't really have any idea what happened, but it did seem like when the blue oil wasn't there, the scores were a little better. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to watch how things happened. I mean, the machine did break, and so they had switched machines, so they probably won't be identical from then on either. That being said, Frankie did shoot 300. He had almost a similar reaction with the blue oil. Before that, he was just the only one.
Yeah. Just quickly, Adam says AAJJ bowled really well. I guess he did, but I didn't see that match because I was engrossed in the NFL and kind of forgot that it had started.
No, he did. He did. And that surface reminds you a little bit of like Longview, where it hooks in the front and kind of plays a little bit tricky. There's some topography things going on, and he can eliminate a portion of the lane because he throws it so firm, and he can go ahead and use stronger balls that still, and they'll roll. And so yeah, I thought he did bowl well. I think he has a pretty good chance, moving forward. I would say he's a natural matchup guy to what was there.
Jason Pavlenko says watching from his office. Hope all is well. Yep, thanks, mate. Hope the pro shop business is kicking on a little bit.
I was good to have Pavlenko around.
The playoff match was heartbreaking for me. I wanted to see Chris go far, not as much as Linda wanted to see Chris go far, but we'll appreciate it. Your mom's in the chat saying good morning.
I get.
The Weber Cup was awesome. Well, I'm glad you got to see it. The Team Europe comeback at the end. Jesper was a beast. Yes, Jesper was a beast. We, I guess my 260 pounds got a little bit heavy. He was carrying a bunch of us for a little while there. Somebody said, would a solid reactive smooth the lanes out and give a better reaction? It would smooth the lane out, definitely. But they burnt up so bad in the front that it was hard. It actually made it look, although it was smoother, it actually made it look more uncontrollable, if that kind of.
It got the break point so close to you that it was a very fine line. You hit, like, urethane controls it, and then hard to strike, and then it got it too close, and reactive kind of did the same thing. You can get it too close and not really be able to hit the pocket because the break point would get 4 or 5, 6 feet too early. And control versus carry is always the trick. So
Lonnie says, I thought Barnzy had the urethane hand.
I did. I used it like 3 times that game, but none of it was intentional.
Casey Manley said AAJJ did bowl really well, but Carl bowled really bad. I thought overall that none of the guys really, AJ apart, Smallwood kind of did what he did. He just kept the ball in play, and he saw you were struggling. He did what all good bowlers do.
It was really smart. Once he could hit the pocket, and we were both struggling to hit the pocket in practice, and he figured out how to do it earlier than I did, and I did not. I kind of ruled out urethane after the Darren Tang match, where I thought he had the nuts on the one lane, but he couldn't strike in the left lane, and
maybe that would have been different.
I'm like, I should have thrown urethane. I should have thrown something along that line. But
yeah, I mean,
had Smallwood struck as much as he should have struck that match, it wouldn't have mattered what I threw. He bowled the best game out of everybody on our show, and he only had 2 teen, but it was never in danger of being anything less than
that. Thanks for watching, Connor. Hopefully we're not disrupting you from what you're supposed to be doing too much. Watching while doing his online classes. Hello from Ireland.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. Is Ireland still shut down? Sloan was telling us that bowling got shut down again, so that sucks. I hope not.
Yeah. Paul, you make my thumbs a long time ago. Now with interchangeables, that's pretty much out the window. I need about 10 every 2 years, not 50 a year. So
Kenny says hello. Hey, Kenny. What's going on? The nemesis of last week, at least for a couple of days. Ross
he made Jesper's Christmas list.
Settle down, you guys won.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aaron, it was. The airline didn't treat that ball particularly well. I think the bag got dropped dead on a finger hole. And that was we only had 6 balls, so we had to try and make well. Is it difficult to throw urethane on one lane and reactive on the other? because of how you have to roll them differently.
Yeah, generally, but I mean, I spent my whole life practicing that way, so that should be one of the things I can do. That's not really an excuse for me. I should have picked up on the right lane was better with urethane watching Tang, and the left lane was probably better with your active, and just gone back and forth and treated it like two different patterns. In retrospect, had I survived, that's certainly how I would have went forward.
Okay, well, I'm going to unveil my my board now. We're going to move on from the playoffs, and we're going to have a little Weber Cup, a little more Weber Cup stuff. But this is going to be we're going to have an insider about a different viewpoint of the Weber Cup. Somebody who commentated. But here's my board.
Huh.
Beef 234, Barnzy 232. Yeah.
Sorry, we have some technical difficulties. Stu won't be joining us any longer this broadcast. Go. Yes, we did bowl each other in the Weber Cup, and no, it did not go the way.
It was the shit show derby. I got down to my level.
World bowling scoring format, and
that was me. Don't worry.
That's 230s, and that is a four-bagger clean, which neither one of us, I think, managed to do.
Oh no, I had a couple of
4 strikes out of 10 clean. I believe it was a 5 or 6 strikes for both of us, and some opens, and kind of it was a mess. So
yeah, I'm realizing that now I've actually lit myself up a little bit, that it makes it a little harder to see my boards. I'm gonna have to maybe I need a light for the board as well.
you have to put a spotlight on the board. Yep. No, you somehow you know, one more time so you can 234. Yeah, no, it's still the same. Got it. So yeah, that same session was the same session, same day. I beat Jesper, who the giant, and I lost to Stu, who at that point was still on 0.
I was along for the ride
for the event, and so I made I evened up both of them. Actually, that was the same session. We were going into the session. You think, okay, we put in our lineups, they put in their lineups, and you find out where you bowl and go, oh, I got Jesper one match and I got Stu one match. All right, if we get out of that 1-1, that's a pretty good go. And then I lost to Stu early and went, that's not as good a go.
No.
What
he really thought there was, man, if I can find some way to beat Jesper, I'm going to go 2-0. But without further ado, let's bring on our guest.
We do. We have we do have a guest. He is a future USBC Hall of Famer. He has one of the most impressive records at the USBC in history, probably maybe the most impressive, winning back-to-back all events and setting records all along the way. And he was the main color commentator at the Weber Cup this year. Gosh, what else? He's a Wichita State alum, and well, he's left-handed, so we actually don't like him that much. But with no further ado, Matt McNeal.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show. And Chris, I just hope I'm not affecting any IHL payments, pensions, or anything like that by coming on your show. I don't want to jeopardize any of that.
No, we'll do plenty to make up for it somewhere along the way. Don't worry.
So let's have a little a brief discussion about your Open career, because we were finding it a little difficult to get the exact correct details, and neither of us wanted to message Wriggles. So, is 4 Eagles correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Right, and you've got 2 or 3 all events?
3 all events and a doubles.
3 all events and a doubles. And in the doubles, did you not shoot like quite a large score yourself?
Yeah, I had 847 and
So you basically won the doubles too. So
yeah, it was a light load. I think that's probably one of the only times in doubles history that somebody could shoot 630 and get an eagle. So
probably true, because I shot 820 once, and this is in the 90s. I shot it with a yellow dot, and 620 was not enough to win. My partner. So sorry, Ward Muckaby. But 1440, we were third by about 15 pins.
One other quick note about that. How many 800s do you have at the USBCs?
I have 3, and I'm the only player with 3. And that was like a hat trick. So 2010, 2011, 2012.
There you go.
Was able to pull that one off. So
Chad's nipped that in the bud now, though, hasn't he?
Oh yeah. That after 2015, it all came to a crashing halt. So Chad and Hoagland, they just said, "Well, that's enough of that," and I just happy to get mine while I could.
Yeah, it's almost a bit like the housing crisis for the lefties the last few years. It was like, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're fine. You took it to another level, but Brett Wolf had a few pretty good years in Reno too. It was the scores were just out of control, like crazy. I mean, what is your all events record?
23-26.
So that's 23-26 for 9 games. So for those counting at home, that's a smooth little 526 over for 9. Also known as a lot. And then 2015 happened, a new world order, where the scores have come down significantly. Right or wrong, I don't really know, but that's the new world order. Outside of that, what are your other career achievements that you're particularly proud of?
Probably, Mike Flanagan used to run the Inside Bowling Tournament. I won that in 2014. I won the Peterson Classic in 2015. I've won Jeff Riggles's tournament, the 11thframe.com Open, twice. I did pretty well in Megabucks when they were still running.
I thought you making the show at the World Championships last year would have been pretty high up on your list.
Well, I guess it is and it isn't, because I averaged about 160 for 4 games on that TV pair, and so that's just kind of one of those things you try to blank out of your memory. Because I looked like I had just no clue and no bowling talent whatsoever within me on TV, and it was probably just a very excruciating experience, just because I knew, as a part-time guy on the tour, your chances are going to be very few, very far between. And I felt that was probably the best chance I'd ever have. And I tell you, following Jacob on that pair was, it was just absolute jail, absolute handcuffs. So it is what it is.
Since Ross Gibson is in the chat, or at least he was earlier, did you hear that, Ross? When more than one bowl, the pattern changes. So you have to offset them to keep it even on the left and the right. This commercial brought to you.
By
IHL.
This is pretty spectacular that they win and they can still be moaning about the lane guy. Pretty amazing.
Well, one guy did average 20 pins more than everybody else. And not that he's not special, but
he did also go 2 days without getting there you go, Ross. Thanks for the info. I'll take it under advisement.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me, Matt, when I tell you that you're not the first and you won't be the last who feels like a little frustrated with being in Detroit and bowling on TV shows.
I've heard that bay has eaten some people up in its time.
That arena setting is one of the coolest things in the entirety of the sport. Fantastic. Why we can't get with them and with Brunswick and find a solution to just putting down some new panels will forever blow my mind. I'm very ignorant to it. like maybe I don't really I probably don't understand completely the cost of it, and I understand that they've got like there's going to be some structuring work to have to go underneath because they've got the really big panels in there right now. But if we're going to commit to going there all the time, I'm really surprised we haven't found a solution.
Just have a TV pair.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a million years older than the other side. It's just it's apples and oranges. So
it really is, and I mean, even to add to Chris's point, you know, underneath the lanes, I mean, the owner took me underneath the bay because that originally was a National Bowling League stadium, and there was only 4 lanes there. And then they put the tournament bay. They basically built it up. A lot of the panels are held up on cinder blocks, actually stacked up cinder blocks. And the topography there is just a mess, pair to pair. And you guys know that better than anybody. I feel the topography is worse even more than the surface. You know, that surface is that System 2000 or Anvil lane. I mean, you could screen that surface and make it play really, really good again. I think the big bugaboo there is the topography problems that they got just because of how that place was built. I mean, you go underneath those lanes and you're like,
yeah, I agree on your side. That's the case. I've seen where they screened them in a few places, North Rock, Tucson, a few places. They don't, once that oxide comes up, they hook, and there's not much way around it. They just hook a lot. And certainly on the right where there's been, you know, the biggest scratch league in Detroit played there for decades, and there's just so much play on that side. And it is, like Stu said, it's the coolest setting, and the historical value of it is amazing, and it's a great, you know, one of the best bowling cities in the world. But it would be nice to have it one pair over there, at least for the TV shows, that was the same as what you bowled on in the main tournament bay. I think that would alleviate a lot of it and showcase, you know, one of the best historical monuments we have to bowling left.
yeah, absolutely.
So let's move on to your debut in the Weber Cup booth. We got some pretty good feedback, I think, from our wives. They thought you did a really good job. How did you enjoy it? Were you nervous? Did it give you a different perspective? How bad did it look like I stank? All of the above.
It was really cool. It was a great experience. I've never done anything on that big of a scale before. So, you know, standing next to a professional broadcaster like Hannah Wilkes was for Sky Sports, that was unbelievable.
It looked like you needed to stand up, mate.
Yeah, I mean, she's taller than me anyways, and you know, I kind of got that, you know, 5'6.5" Midwesterner thing, you know, white kid from Minnesota going, and the camera angle didn't help, and then she was wearing heels, so I was just like,
yeah, she's pretty much 6 foot on her own, and then she put down the heels the one day, and she made all of us look short.
Yeah,
that's
it was
really unfair to the rest of us.
Yeah,
I did hear a Pee Wee Herman reference. But yeah, so what was the biggest difference that you saw from being on that side of the camera?
Well, what's really cool is you just see everything that goes into production. Like you're hearing what all the production people are talking about. You're seeing kind of everything that goes into producing a show and making it work. And then it's really actually it's kind of like repping just from a booth, really. You know, you're really keen to watching the tendencies of the lane and watching what's matching up, watching what isn't. And for me, I thought it gave me a really good view of what was going on out there on the lane, you know, and aside from, you know, the left was, you know, very, very friendly out there. So.
There's Hannah stood next to you two. If you can actually look, she is actually crouching in that picture. So yeah, that was what that was the broadcast team there, yourself and Darren.
Yep.
Which part of it did you enjoy the most? Did you enjoy the actual commentary or the studio sound?
I like calling the action, actually, and having you guys in the booth I thought was great because, not that you guys talk to me on tour because I'm left-handed, but if I happen to run into you at an airport or something like that, maybe we chat for a little bit. But it's just like talking bowling with you guys when I happen to see you, and that makes it really easy. I think it makes it really genuine, and it draws people in. You can kind of tell the story of what's going out there. You can relate your experience, and just kind of make it relatable for everybody that's watching. So I really enjoyed calling the action. I try to get a couple of one-liners in there a little bit to add some humor, and then try to use a few Bowisms that I picked up from watching all the old ABC shows. So it's just kind of like a dream come true for me.
Yeah, I felt like the commentator you were with, Phil, was amazing. Like the research he'd done and some of the things that he'd come up with, and you were just like, huh.
Yeah, for a guy who didn't really have any background in bowling, he did a fantastic job of researching and really he made himself fairly, pretty much an expert on the whole deal. And I thought he had a nice touch of laying out too when there was more detailed discussions and didn't try and force himself into some things. So
yeah, he definitely didn't have an ego about it.
Right.
More than happy to let Matt or ourselves talk about it. It was, yeah, I thought he did a really nice job. With the I guess all the European people want to know, did you think we got screwed as bad as we did?
It was hard to watch at points and times. Like it seemed like you guys all needed to go to church, like for a while there. Like,
well, Texas Jesus certainly did.
Yeah.
We didn't even bowl that session.
No, the other thing as well is when the first session was going on, were you frantically looking at your contract to see if you got paid per session or just a one-off?
I think I was safe for the whole time. So, I think there was some discussions about, hey, I think we need to, maybe not offer so many matches tonight, in case it gets to a really bad point here where we might not even be able to provide content for a third day. So,
okay, we've been there before.
Well, every bowler has. I mean,
no. Me and Tom have been on the receiving end of one of those where we left a session early. You've never seen how popular we were with the camera guys.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they loved it. They were like, "Sweet, we can get on the road. We can go home. I'm going to be home by 7:00." Oh, yeah, we were super popular when we got drugged.
They gave out a beating like that too one of those years. So pretty much skipped a whole session the one year.
Frank's one of our regulars. He said, "Who has the lower rev rate, Frankie or McNeil?"
Oh, me by a mile. Frankie's got me covered by 60 or 70 at least, maybe even 100.
I think it might have been a fairer question, McNeil or Danielle.
I think she's got me beat too.
No.
Yeah, let's not get crazy, but
we've got a couple of questions in the chat. I do, just before I go to the questions, I do have to get you to recall one of the funnest parts of the trip that you were telling me because we were hanging out in the lounge. Talk us through Dom's spare where the thumb came out and the conversation where you figured out that the director could actually chat to you.
Well, they asked me to instantly shut up about the whole legality thing because
explain it because a lot of people didn't see it.
Yeah, so basically what had happened was Don was shooting a single pin spare. His interchangeable he locked it like kind of came out, like the outer sleeve came out, and so he hung up in it. The outer sleeve popped out, and he launched it up in the air. The ball hit the lane, bounced a few times, And since the sleeve was sticking out, it actually just happened to guide the ball. It hit the lane surface. It guided the ball to the left, and he made the spare. And I was like, wait a minute here.
Found it.
You got it. Can you cue it up?
Yeah. Let's just. See, I actually don't think it ever hit.
It did towards the end. I'm right there. Like,
it was hard to tell, but it sure looked like it. It either way. So you started to describe.
This before in my career. At least Dom's still converting. Watch the replay here.
This is the best replay ever.
Dom uses an interchangeable thumb, so his thumb does come out, but only if he has to turn it 180 degrees. His thumb sticks in the bowling ball, and you can see. Watch the ball go down the lane. You can see the thumb insert actually hanging outside of the bowling
right
ball.
There. That's where I thought it had come in contact with the lane surface and directed the ball. But that would be such a tough thing to call if it did or not. And if it did, it's not a legal spare. So
and this is Ross, who I thought should have been the referee, but they said Emily was the referee, who didn't know the rules particularly well, so it would have been tough for her to make a call here.
Yeah.
Had the match been closer, there probably would have been more discussion.
No, there wouldn't. There really wouldn't. Like, I refuse to believe that would have come down to that conversation. But anyway, the thing
you're on the losing side. Had it happened the other way, you're saying you wouldn't have brought it up?
No, not at all. Like, I would have probably been more. I'd have probably given the guy a high five because that was the most ridiculous spare I've ever seen.
No, I agree.
Bill,
I've seen Dom, on the wrong side of that. I'm not so sure that he would have seen it that way at the time.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The one that did make me laugh was that Bill was actually saying the same thing you're saying. He goes, "Do you think it's too soon to ask Dom whether that should really have been a spare or not?"
That was the discussion over there.
Had Dom won a point yet at that point in time?
No.
Oh God, I think you let him have the spare then.
Well, there's just two things in play there. That's like Bill asking for a foul at that point. The other thing he doesn't believe it. Neither of those would have ever happened, but it was a fun conversation point where we were at.
Yeah, I thought it was. I just never seen anything really like that before, and but then the voice in my ear started. Quiet down. We don't know. We don't have a referee, and I'm like, okay.
Shut up.
Yep. Well, it's that, but in a very nice British tone, because everybody's, they're so eloquent with their accent. So
you're really lucky that you didn't get a typical British person, because they might have been saying words that like your grandmother wouldn't want to hear. But yeah, Dom has bowled fantastic at the Weber Cup numerous times. This was the worst I think he's ever bowled at the Weber Cup, and he had 2 videos go viral.
Yeah,
because he spared the big 4 as well. And when he spared the big 4, it was like the most devastating spare of the big 4 of all time. Like, he had the 4-pin take out the 6-10, and then the 7-pin came over and would have taken both out as well. It was crazy times.
Yeah.
It looked like he made it on a string machine. Like the way everything flew around, it looked like it was the big 4 made on a string machine. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and like I said, if you want to check that out, if you go over to my Facebook page, I've got the video up there. The comment I put onto it was, you might have spared it, but you need someone to leave it for you to be able to spare it. You're welcome.
Just setting guys up to be stars. That's what.
Well, I gave him the opportunity the frame before when I Greek churched.
I can't think of a more TV Timmy kind of thing than to find a way to get yourself viral on a day when you couldn't win any points. That's
I managed it.
I think Bill has passed on the torch now. Dom,
let's quickly.
Dom has the title now until next time.
Jim Jordan said he thought you and D-Tang did a good job covering the Weber Cup. Lonnie says it was super surprising Jesper's reaction seemed to hold up better on the long than the short. No, it wasn't, because Jesper really likes playing hold.
Yeah, and there was enough shape. There was enough shape at 5 through 8 on all the patterns. And
but
to be fair, they were the same shape was on the right. We were just bowled on a 15-year-old lane. The pattern was set up for a relatively new lane, which is what they told Ross it was going to be. It turned out to be a 15-year-old amble lane with a pretty dominant track area. So where the shape was in most of those patterns, we had a tough time getting to, especially on the medium and shorter patterns. So,
I mean, Bill didn't seem like he had too much of a trouble getting to the point where the pattern was dominant. I'm just laughing. Bill bowled fantastic that first day.
First day and a half. Yeah, I did an interview actually earlier, and he said, well, who was the deal? Like day one, Bill was kind of the MVP, and then 2 and 3, Kyle bowled well, and then then Simo got in there and he crushed him, and then EJ basically carried us limping and screaming and dragging to the foul line, to the finish line, and everybody took a swing at it at some point, and but yeah, Bill showed once again why he's the best guy with not 500 RPMs, and he just he made all the patterns look good. He was talking to the rest of us pretty well, got us to see the right picture too, and helped all of us get on the right path. And that was probably huge for us.
He was doing why are you guys finding this so challenging?
No, he actually was much nicer about it, which is, he didn't, despite the fact that he rooms with Jason, he did not use that approach with us. And, and he was, I kind of, you kind of do that, and everybody kind of picked their own way of getting that shape. But he was nice. He took a little of the sting out of the fact of, are you guys stupid?
No, he gave it man. I remember when I used to struggle at things like this.
I had some flashback moments when Bill was early on tour, and I was, we were both on the same staff, and I was the one kind of going, well, Bill, if you kind of
try this,
do this, try that, and he was the one now going, all right, old man, if you do this, maybe you'll.
It's the circle of life, Chris.
It is, and I'm dust to dust, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Lonnie Pemberton said, was it more impressive, the big 4 spare at the Weber Cup or the 4-6? I'm going to say it was the big 4, because when Osku spared the 4-6, I think everybody who was sat there was like, that's probably going to spare that, because the curtain was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Dom's big 4 was like literally the most devastating thing I've seen by anybody except Osku. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, it was just the most no doubt spare of the big 4 ever. Like, it was crazy. But yeah, Osku sparing the 4-6. I don't even think that was the most impressive thing Osku did. The most impressive thing Osku did was when he put his plastic ball on the 2 fingers, swung the backswing above his head, and took out the 2-4-10.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. That's how strong that guy is. Even just try walking.
Well,
holding a ball.
Watched that, and so we went down the other day, and he missed a couple of spares shooting him 2-handed, and he got mad, so he just grabbed it with his fingers and shot a couple of them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And irritatingly enough, he also made them. One thing cooler than that is when Osku does that, and then he wraps it back, his hand back up underneath it, and hooks it doing that.
Oh yeah, it makes you.
That's when you go, oh, you're on a different planet than the rest of us. That's.
Are you guys surprised he doesn't have more titles?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not trying to stew the pot, no pun intended or anything, but as
stew the pot.
Yeah, get it. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm shocked when a one-hander wins a tournament these days.
Yeah, I'm a little, because I consider Osku kind of a student of. I mean, I think he pays attention. He's got a little Rain Man-ish, attention to detail with some things, and that he hasn't really got on the train with just getting left and out hooking the field, because obviously that is an option for him.
I think he just had he had a really tough time for a while with his elbow.
Yeah, there's some injuries in there too that he didn't talk about.
And then he would get his hand too much on the outside of the ball, and that's what we were saying to him this week. Was he had a couple of games where he was really good with reactive as well, and he got his hand back more to the spot where he used to be when he was dominant. Ross Gibbs bringing up a fun story from the Weber Cup here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
A few years ago at the Weber Cup, when Oscar was throwing a hard, because he used to put his thumb in it, the machine guy had to move the machine a quarter forward after 2 days, quarter of an inch forward, because nothing was fastened down.
Yeah, can you imagine a machine that weighs a couple 1,000 pounds and Oscar just throwing a 15-pound ball was moving it?
Yeah, they ended up
thumb in it. It was just blowing the back of the lane up.
The
reason why all those pins bounced around is they put a camera down there, and this time, like sometimes they do it in the PBA where they put a plastic shield up, which every once in a while one will bounce out. Well, this they actually lowered a piece and it put the bar in play, and they were nonstop.
I mean, they folded the curtain back. So like the curtain has, like normally it's strung up on an 8270, which was the pin setter they used. Normally it's kind of got that nice curvature to it. So it really keeps the pins down. Well, they just rolled it back. So not only did that curvature go away, but it made it a lot harder, and pins could just bounce straight back out of there because of how they folded it. So it's like they just kind of folded it back over on itself, and it was just like a free kick plate to, just make stuff fly around. So it was really interesting to say the least, but I think it added a lot of excitement to it because, really tough split makes for in play.
I mean, the only good thing about it is that the splits didn't really make that, like making the splits wasn't really that big a deal most of the time.
There wasn't a lot of impacted matches where you went, yeah.
Just
it made everything makeable.
Oh yeah, for sure. Aaron Shannon says that ball return seemed like it was way bad. Was it as bad as it looked? It wasn't for me.
But yes, it was about 3 feet too far forward, and it was, the thing that we've done with a lot of equipment is that we waited 50 years to make it bigger, wider, and more in the way, and or slower. So, it was a pretty solid install job. The only thing they were missing was that they actually put the track underground.
The one thing I will say in defense of it, I had way more sympathy with you than I did with Kyle. Because most of Kyle's issue were coming from shooting a spare. You're a professional bowler. You can't shoot the 10 pin from third arrow. You can only shoot it from fourth arrow. Get the out of here. That's pathetic. And I'll tell Kyle that straight to his face. That's pathetic that you can't, that you're getting upset because you keep kicking the ball return. Well, move right.
He actually did. He started, but he kept, he kept walking to give or take.
Oh, that makes it better then.
I understand. And it's no excuse for me either. It's just, it was far enough back. It only clipped my heel. And
I know that it affected you in the match when you bowled against me.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah, early on in the match, you had a couple of shots because it would straighten you back up.
Yeah.
Almost you'd go to be sideways and then you kick it, and it's really hard to. But yeah, I mean, Kyle's bowling way better than me. But if it came to shooting spares on that lane, then I know that I would have been ahead of him.
Well, he couldn't get a break. I don't know how many 3.610s he left, but he had that streak there where he was leaving those 3.610s and he could not make one. I mean, he was chopping them left, and then he was missing the 2-pin right.
3-pin kept resetting off spot. I think it was the 3-pin or the 6-pin. I can't remember, because Dom had one that I thought
we made, and
dead and it didn't.
either the three got deep. It looked like the three got deep, and so instead of deflecting into it, it didn't, and so 6 still went around it, even though it shouldn't have.
Yeah, it was very
It
weird.
wasn't a great set, but yeah, I can't judge. A 3-6-10 has been a moving target for me for 20 years. So,
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think overall. I mean, I missed a couple of spares. I know Oscar missed a couple of spares. I don't think overall we covered ourselves in particular glory. EJ Tackett was pretty good though. He managed to put a pin out of the machine and almost into the video board, which was about, I don't know, 20 feet from the lane.
more like 40 or 50 feet.
Yeah.
It was a long ways away.
Yeah,
And he got it about 3/4 of the way to it, enough that we were like, oh, that needs to slow down.
when it flew out the top of the machine, I told EJ, like afterwards, I told EJ, I go, yeah, you were about set to be bowling the Weber Cup for the next 4 years for free.
Yeah, to explain it, he hit what did he hit, the 4-pin or something?
10-pin.
It was a 10-pin on the right side. So he hit in the right corner, and it bounced and came out the left side of the machine on the 7-pin side, and it came out and probably apex at about 14 feet in the air.
Oh, at least, yeah.
It was way up there. It looked like a golf shot coming out of the side of the machine, and then it landed on the convention floor, which is just concrete, and took 3 big hops over there before it finally got some traction and started rolling in a circle. Like, we're like, oh,
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean,
get down and spin.
they were gutted. The Weber Cup people were gutted that they didn't have the back camera to see that pin come straight out the machine because, of course, like nobody's looking for that.
I felt bad for the two. Remember the two mechanics back there?
Oh,
I was like, those guys are going to need like hazard pay. I mean,
well,
with the way the pins were coming out of the pin setter.
If Oscar was still bowling with his thumb in at the spares, oh yeah.
Yeah, Ross put in some work this week too. All the extra runs and stuff. It used to be just once at the beginning, once in the middle, and we had 3 runs each time. Then we had practice sessions on a really short schedule this year instead of a little bit longer one. And then, I mean, you basically had 8 hours of bowling in 9 hours total. And he got to put that machine down about, what was it? Like, he was running them like 14 times a day, I think, as it was.
Oh yeah, he missed a couple meals too, I think, because that
Probably.
I thought he was slimming down a little bit. He got that on. So.
Hi, Ross. Here I am in my glass house.
Oh, Ross. Well, I just felt bad for him. Like, you know, we're not.
I don't feel too bad. It wasn't like he was missing out on a great deal.
Well.
Yeah, the bubble food left a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I did send a message to Dom and Stu. I was fortunate to get an upgrade on the way back, and I said, I'm not saying that the food last week wasn't well, it was the same as it always is actually, but that the best meal I had the whole week was on the plane on the way home. So
that's saying something.
Look at you two. You both of you in first class. You don't understand how the real people live. Real people.
I had it all backwards because I needed the first class on the way over there, so I wasn't. Oh,
yeah. Well, actually, to be honest, you bowled better before you loosened up.
It seemed like it. I don't know. The first night I was pretty stiff. I was pretty fortunate to survive that one, the very first round, but it was okay after that.
Well, I think that was a pretty good wrap up of what went on. Do we have 10 questions for McNeil, or are we going to?
No, we could certainly come up with something, I think, as it turns out. Yeah, look at there. We even have a graphic built. Huh.
We suppose.
All right.
You're an I before E, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though. I've just accepted it. Just like my left-handedness. You know, I've learned to live with it.
It's all right. I'll do the edit. You keep going, D.
All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Which one can we do? So let's start out with the most you've gambled on one hand or one game.
Oh, God. I'm so cheap. I think like probably the most I've gambled is, I think, $20 on a blackjack table for one hand.
Yeah, and what What about one game?
Oh, for a game of bowling. Sorry. I've bowled 500 a game before.
Not so cheap. Doesn't mind being in the house. Just doesn't like giving it to him.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. One shot you'd like back.
2011, I needed 2011 USBCs. I had the chance to take the all events lead again, and it would have been it. I didn't know it at the time, but if I got the first strike and filled 20, I would have won back-to-back all events. And I got up on a lane after rolling a 2-pin, and I cranked on it pretty good, and it checked up early and went through the face. And that's probably the biggest shot that I'd like to have back.
What would be more important to you, an eagle or a PBA major?
Oh, well, sitting in the position I have right now with 4 eagles, a PBA major I think would go a very, very long way.
A PBA title.
Oh, a PBA title. That's tough.
Because there are way more people who've won eagles than won PBA majors.
That's very true.
Yeah,
man. I don't know. Either way, I get ridiculed, and they say the left's easy, so it kind of takes the fun out of it, anyways.
The check cash is the same, though.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I'll go out on a limb. I'll say over just a regular title, I'd rather get that eagle count up to 5. I'd really want to win a team eagle. I think that's the one I ultimately really, really want to win.
I'm sorry. This just made me laugh. So Frank is our resident asshole.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny.
Yeah.
Matt, can you talk about the cheater show where you had 1 strike in 2 games?
Hey, I said I averaged 160 for 4 games on that pair. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did make me laugh, though. I'm sorry, Matt.
If you could give yourself your own nickname, what would it be?
Oh,
Righty's worst nightmare.
Yeah. I think, Stu, you put it really good when I saw you at the Lucky Larson a couple years ago. And you're like, not only are you here to not rep for me, so you can't help me, but you're also going to be taking my money as well. So it's like a double-edged sword.
And you didn't pay for your ticket.
Yeah.
It was always fun when Tyler used to bowl the stop in Shawnee, and he'd be working, and it's like, well, this is really cool. You're here selling balls, but really taking my paycheck. Thanks, Tyler. Because Tyler's like the world's best bowler at not bowling.
Oh yeah, he's very, very good.
Like, shout out to Tyler though. He's going in the Southwest Hall of Fame this.
I just heard that.
Oh, that's awesome! Congrats, Tyler, if you're watching.
He's not.
He won't be.
No, okay.
He would troll people on a pretty regular basis. He was actually in here, I think. The biggest Storm Tour rep diva.
Oh, I don't know, Stu. You're up there, man.
No.
It's you,
Callahan.
Oh, just for the tour reps. Okay.
Jim, Doug.
You can throw Steve in there.
TV Timmy. Come on.
Timmy.
Oh, you think Timmy's the biggest diva?
Tim's a pretty boy. He always wants to be on camera and be seen, you know.
Oh boy.
I mean,
It
Tim's
was nice seeing you in Europe. You won't be back.
Yeah.
Are you saying he's TV Timmy?
That's his nickname, isn't it?
Actually, it's Dom's nickname now, but
no, Tim. I love Tim like a brother or a father. I mean, Tim's been so awesome to me, and I think it's all in good fun here. But
so you're taking Tim, okay?
I'm taking. Well, yeah, I think I gotta say, Tim. I mean, he's always, you know,
It's
he
probably
always.
the best. It was probably the best version. I mean, you could have said Sean, but that would have been a complete lie.
Well, yeah,
Knowing that Sean wouldn't give a shit one way or the other.
no. And he's always trying to not be on camera. Like
Oh,
when
no,
we,
he hates it. Yeah.
oh yeah, he hates it. He's like, when we're like watching guys warm up for a TV show, he's like, he'll like shove me out of the way, and I go, "What was that for?" And he goes, "Oh, I didn't want to be on camera." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks. Now I'm on camera," but I didn't mind it so much because I'm kind of like TV Timmy Jr. So,
yeah, Sean's definitely got the Rick Benoit in him, whereas
yeah.
it's like, you were the one who bowled.
Yeah. You. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's no part of it. So, all right. Who's got the police showing up to their house right now?
Oh, I live 3 blocks from a hospital downtown. So,
Okay, cool. I
you
guess that leads into this. You ever been in handcuffs?
for practice, yeah.
Not in the tournament? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a version. We'll let that one slide. Gosh, what was it? One shot you'll remember over and over for the rest of your life.
Say again. Sorry.
One shot you'd like to remember that you like to replay in your head over and over.
2010 when I needed a 20-pin fill to take the all events record, and it was just absolute 10 back pure off my hand, and I'd take that shot every single time.
So quickly, Russell, one of our friends from England, says, "Man, Matt throwing Timmy under the bus. Built like Timmy is, he may well throw you under a bus in passing."
All right, so just
we're moving on.
I know all right.
Yeah.
I really wasn't throwing TV Timmy under the bus, but you know. All right, whatever.
It's okay, Matt.
We can appreciate it there, I'm afraid. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of good answers there. Well, that actually wraps up 10 frames with Matt McNeal, and it wraps up a show on the playoffs and Weber Cup recap. Any parting words you'd like to throw out there?
Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed myself. You guys do a great job, and I always like catching your shows as well. So, and then just getting to hang out with you guys at the Weber Cup was pretty awesome. So, a lot of great bowling, and Chris, awesome job as well. And then Tim, I don't know. You'll find a gift basket on your doorstep in about 3 days. So, and if I never make it back to Europe for any bowling reason whatsoever, you all know now why.
Oh dear. All right, thanks, Matt.
All right,
All right, guys. Thank you.
Once again, we always appreciate it if you support our sponsors. And so that being said, Rotogrip, 900 Global, Storm, 3G, Dexter, Master, Coolwick, Bowler's Mart, Vice, Turbo, and there's space on there for your company too. So until next time, sports ball businesses, especially support your local bowling centers that trying to make it through a tough time here. Eat an extra meal there, get an extra drink that you wouldn't normally do. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.